Live from North Carolina, it's Rebel Rousers with a Cause, featuring your hosts, Bonnie Gale and Hera Kasher.
Hi, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Rebel Rousers with a Cause. Bonnie Gale, what do you want to talk about today?
I would love to talk about what it's like over the past couple of years, since COVID began and all of the things that happened. If you are having trouble, talking to your family, if family has been difficult and it's just you feel like you don't have a voice, I would love to talk about that today.
Yeah, we're in a difficult time because, I think was it Ford who said, whether you think you're right or you think you're wrong, whatever. If you think it's like this or you think it's like that, you're right no matter what, because whatever you think it is, that's the way you're going to go. And we're in a time like this. We're in a time where everybody's very positional about what they think, right? So you have all these situations where, you're talking to people and you feel like you're living in two separate worlds, right?
I know I'm living in two separate worlds, that's for sure.
So tell us about what's going on with you and things that you can highlight about that.
Well, it's really interesting because my family and I have very different viewpoints on all of the things that are going on in the world right now, and they don't really believe any of the things that I believe, and I don't believe any of the things that they believe. And so obviously that makes it tough to have conversations. And the few times that I have made efforts to have conversations, even like just to say maybe a little bit of what I know, I get called crazy all the time. Or, oh, Bonnie, like we start with the, oh, Bonnie, and then the next thing is you're crazy. And so what's ended up happening is I found that it's a lot better for them and me if we just don't speak until all of the things that are happening in the world are made public. Because there's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that people are not aware of. And so there's a lot of people that have beliefs that are things that they've been, programmed to believe because they're watching television and people are putting all this fear porn out there, literally. And I'm going to call it fear porn because that's what it is. And so, if you go outside, you're going to die. And if you don't wear a mask, you're going to get COVID. And if you get COVID, you're going to die. And the truth of the matter is that the volume of people that they're talking about that are so tragic is not the reality that's actually happening. And so things are being made up and blown up so that people are in so much fear that they literally are hiding in their houses.
Right. It's crazy. It's really crazy. I mean, you're right. People are so on opposite sides of the spectrum, and they're really, there's no middle ground. It's like, because we're going through a time that's like there's never been anything like that's happened. And so, so you're between a rock and a hard place if somebody is completely on the other side of the fence. And I mean, I know so many people whose kids don't talk to them and call them crazy. Like, I mean, your family does, but your own kids talking. My son, he thinks I'm a little loony, and maybe I am, but not for the right reasons. I'm a little loony because I choose to be loony, not because I have a belief system that's incorrect, or, it's not about being correct. It's just about being aware. And, unfortunately, like you were saying, a lot of people that have been listening to the news and listening to, voices that are not giving them the correct information.
And that are literally scaring them to death. Like, that's the best way to say it, is like, they are scared to death. Like, I know that people that I speak to, a lot of times are in such fear. Like, they literally want to, completely conceal themselves and cover themselves up. Like eyes, nose, mouth, ears, why don't you just cover your whole face up, while you're at it? And literally walking around, God forbid if you sneeze outside or you have to cough or oh my God, like if you have a little sniffle because you might have a cold.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy. It's like people are embarrassed to sneeze right now.
It's a new crime.
I mean, like literally. So it is really, if you feel like, you can relate to anything that we're talking about right now, I know both Tara and I have some tips to give you about like what you can do so that you don't have to, first of all, you don't have to slip into their fear, and you don't have to feel like you need to believe what they believe, and you don't have to doubt yourself and literally think that you are crazy because you're not. And the thing is that the chaos that's going on in the world right now is happening for multiple reasons, and pretty soon, all of this information is going to come out so that a lot of this can go away. But right now, it's making it really difficult to talk to people. And a lot of these people you know and love and care about, and the reason that you want to talk to them is because you want to help them. Because I know, like, I want to help my family. Like, I don't want my father to be in fear. I don't want my brothers to be in fear. I don't want my niece and nephew to be in fear that they can't go to school and they can't have friends and they can't hang out with them.
So true.
I mean, like, thank God I'm not in a relationship right now. I can't even imagine meeting somebody in this environment the way it has been.
Right.
So one of the things that I do is if I'm talking to people that I know are not aware of the things that I'm aware of, and I know that they're going to really kind of put their fingers in their ears or, not want to listen, is I don't talk about topics that would, anger them or incite any kind of fear in them. I try and be very neutral and talk about extraneous things that are going on, like, what the weather's like and what's going on in business or something like that, so that we don't have to have confrontational conversations.
Right. Well, I mean, I want to back up a little bit because I'm not so much like her. I'm a little bit more, rebel rousing. And here's the thing. Okay, so they say that your mask protects me and my mask protects you, right? So we're in a state right now where there are many people that are not wearing masks, and then there's maybe one or isolated person or two isolated people that are wearing it. So, let's just talk about that. What's the logic there, okay? Because if my mask protects you and yours protects me, and you're wearing a mask and 50 other people aren't, how do you reconcile that in your brain? How does that, so it's a challenging time, I have to say, because there's a level of common sense that is missing, right? It's missing. So, for me, I can't talk to some people, and my tip for you is to stay away from people, because I'm not a small talker. I like to talk about things that are important, and I like to be solution oriented. And so just to be speaking to people and they're just talking about nonsense and stuff like that. We're going through really incredible times right now. So I prefer to either be quiet in my own world or be with Bonnie or friends that are of the same kind of thought process and talking about what can we do? How can we help things? How can we do this, that, and the other thing? Because that feels alive. Everything else feels like it's kind of stuck in a framework of, what do you call it? They're hypnotized. People are just hypnotized.
Exactly.
And you know that because you say something to them, you're like, how's it working out for you that you're wearing that mask or whatever, and I'm not. And people they can't even answer you because there is no answer for those people. They're just following a certain kind of regimen that's been given to them, and they haven't spent a moment to say, does that make any sense?
Well, not only that, masks don't do anything. I mean, that's the crazy part, if you knew the type of masks that, they wear when they do hazmat work and things like that, it's not the masks that you're wearing. Those masks are actually hindering your breathing. They are ruining your lungs because you're breathing in your own carbon dioxide instead of breathing in oxygen. and you're doing this for long periods of time because you're wearing a mask to work, or you're wearing a mask to school, or on a plane for 5 hours,
Yeah.
you know, like, this is actually bad for your health. And this is part of the reason why people are getting sick. I know that basically since the beginning of 2020, I've worn a mask for a total of 2 hours. And that was like literally to walk into a bank, you know, so that I can make deposits. It was to do like only the things that I absolutely had to do. And other than that, I never wore a mask, and I never wear a mask. I don't go outside wearing masks. And if places require masks that for me to walk in there, then I'm not going to do business with those places, because those places are hindering my freedom to breathe.
100%. It's crazy. I mean, it's just really, you know, it's just a time where you realize that people can't see the forest for the trees. It's difficult, and to be in a relationship with maybe husbands and wives don't have the same perspective. Maybe your family, like Bonnie's, you know, friends. I mean, I know when the situation kind of unfolded and I got wind of what was really going on, like the whole world kind of changed, and the friends I had, they're not in my life anymore because there was no common ground. It was like, it's a very positional time, like, oh, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, no, you're wrong, we're all wrong. You know, I mean, you know, so it's not about like who's right or who's wrong. It's really about not feeling afraid and feeling like yourself, like powerful, like able to make things happen. And you see these people walking around and they're still afraid. And so that's, you witness that by looking at, like, you know, just, you know, we're 2.5 years into this pandemic and people are still driving in their cars wearing masks.
By themselves.
By themselves. Or they're outside in the fresh air. Like I saw a person jogging, wearing a mask outside. I mean,
Oh my God.
so I mean, like, look, I mean, because even if you believe, even if you had to believe that COVID was everywhere and you were going to get it, whatever, you're outside in the fresh air, there's nobody around you, why are you wearing a mask? It's indicative of the fact that underneath all of that is this raging fear that has, it's rooted in so much nonsense, because it's not based on anything. It's not based on anything factual or whatever. So,
Well, wait a minute. It's based on science. Well, we know that science is a crock of crap.
right.
No, you're right. We forgot that.
You're right. So again, it's just a time where, like, it's unfortunate that we're in this place right now. And I think my tip, besides not talking to people, would be to, you know, hold that person in a good place in my heart and just wish the best for them, because, you know, we've never traveled this road before, and it's an unknown. How, I mean, it's a good ending. We just don't know how we're going to get there. So you got to kind of, like, you're in this limbo state, and you got to kind of know how to dance in that moment and put yourself in an environment that is the best that you can make of the situation. And for those people that are living in this fear, you know, and you have no ability to make any headway in their life, it's just to say, like, God bless you, man, I wish you the best, I hope something really good happens for you, and sei gesund, we say. That means go in peace and do your thing.
Well, the other thing I think that's important is that you do things to make yourself happy. You know, like, think about in your home environment, like, what kind of things make you happy? What kind of scents make you happy? Maybe you can light candles. You know, maybe you can have, like, a place that you go that's in your environment that's kind of like your corner, you know, where you can go and relax. Maybe you have a zero gravity chair or something like that, and you light a candle and you play some music that you like, and you turn off the lights, and you just go and you rest. And, you know, the thing is, taking care of yourself, self-care is, like, so important at this time. I know that one of the things that I neglected for like 2 years was self-care. And now I'm back, and I'm so grateful that I'm back, because I was giving, yet I wasn't filling myself up first.
So important.
So it's really important that you take care of yourself first, you know, and that can be a variety of ways. It can be eating healthy food. It could be taking a walk every day. It could be listening to music that you love. It can be going out and getting a manicure, pedicure. It can be getting a facial, having a massage. What are some other things?
Well, I mean, like you can go, like you love to cook and you love to have, you know, like dinners and stuff like that. So look, the thing that's really important is that you take your mind out of the situation that we're in and you put your mind in something that feels good to you. So if you cook and have your friends come over, like I like to watch funny shows on television, because like that's why the television's so great, because it takes you out of your life and puts you into another state. So you can be watching, I like sports, I watch that. Or I like to watch a comedy show and just be silly. And so then in that period of time, I haven't considered anything that's in the news, or anything about people wearing masks, or anything about vaccinations. I'm not thinking about any of that. I'm transported into Shangri-La, if you will, of happiness.
And do not watch that news. Oh my God, because if you want to put yourself in fear, that will do it in about a heartbeat. So if you're watching the news, turn it off, because I promise you, you're going to feel so much better when you do. And you know what, I'm going to tell you a little story that happened to me. This is a true story after 9/11, and it was really interesting. So I have a client who's like in his 80s, and I used to go to his house every day, once a week, and we would talk about things, and I would, you know, bring over checks for him to sign and everything. And after 9/11, I went into this really deep depression. And I said to him, I said, you know, Jack, I said, I've been so depressed. I don't really know what's going on. I don't know why. You know, what do you think, you know, like, what do you think would be a good thing? And he said to me, what are you doing different? And I said, well, the television's on all the time, and the news was on all the time, because I wanted to know what had happened. And so I literally had it going on in the background all the time. And he said to me, are you kidding me? Turn it off. Just make that one simple change. And I was like, okay. And I literally turned off the television. And as soon as I turned off the television, my depression started dissipating. Literally, within hours,
Wow.
It was gone. And I was like, and I didn't know anybody in 9/11, so it wasn't like there was a person that, you know, really hit hard on me. It wasn't that. It was like I was just feeling the collective,
Right.
and I was being programmed by listening to the news
So much.
to go into fear, because, oh my God, you know, this could happen again, and it could happen anytime. And I literally was like practically hyperventilating, and once I turned off the television, that was the end. So there's some very simple things that we can do, just like turn off the news, turn off the TV if it's a problem.
You know, it's funny, I didn't think of this until Bonnie was just talking, but when 9/11 happened, I was living in New York. And,
Oh, wow.
And I would not listen to the news. I did not want to know anything. And I had some friends. I had a friend that died in the towers, and I had some friends that were in that area that worked there, and all that stuff. And I would not listen to the news. And I was out at a restaurant with a friend of mine, and the televisions were on. And I was there, and I looked up, and I saw the planes going in from the towers, right? And that was it for me. I was like, you know, a basket case. But it's really interesting, because I noticed that like every 5 minutes they show you the planes hitting into the towers. Like once was enough, right? But no, because they want to drive it home so that you would just kind of like your psyche would be so crazed about that. And like, you know, when you really think about it, come on, man, you just gotta really kind of take a step back. And then I realized, wow, what they're really trying to make you really feel that plane going in there. I mean, it was going on forever. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know what was going on then, but I know a little bit better now. But stay away from the news. It's really toxic, and I think there's a lot going on with the news that you're gonna kind of learn about in the next couple of weeks or days or months or years, whatever, but stuff's going on. It's not legit.
And the good news is, when all of this stuff comes out, which is going to be in the next few months, you're going to be able to talk to those people that you had a hard time talking to, you know, because they didn't believe you, and you're going to probably end up being the one that is part of their healing process, because you have known about the things that are going on, and so you're not going to be traumatized in the same way that they are when they hear what we've already known for a very long time. So here, the good news is that most likely you're going to be part of the healing process, which makes me feel good about it.
So true. This is like really true and important that we call ourselves awake and bold. So when you wake up, you have the opportunity to be bold. And you know, whatever works in that situation for you, it could be something like we started a group. We have that. We raise awareness. It could be that you take care of your friends, or you just kind of put your mind in a certain way. But whatever it is, it's like being awake. It's like a little bit ahead of the curve. A lot of people are not in that position right now, and Bonnie's right. When this all comes out, people are going to really be in shock and going to need people who can help them.
Exactly. So let's be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
There you go. We're rebel rousers.
There you go.
What could you expect from us? See you next time, guys.
See ya.